Okay, so first 20 minutes of class will be a review of the core actions. So I will use bridge and dead bug to review what we've established up until now about what is inside of a mountain pose or a standing posture. Then once we've established all of that, we're gonna work it like it's fire day on week 3, okay? So all the things that we have done up until now apply to now, as in feel yourself and your capacity, and when you move into compensation, stop and rest. So I'm going to be offering the challenges. It's up to you to apply all of the wisdom that we've emphasized until now about how much is too much and where your edge is and what's the right amount of heat to add to your system to gently move in the direction of your goal and take into account, what you have to do tomorrow and all that. It should be fine. A lot of what tends to happen and why we get sore from a difficult workout is because of imbalanced action. So overuses of usage of some muscle and underusage of another. So hopefully that won't happen. So we'll be planking and doing some core exercises that are a little bit more vigorous than we've done up until now, but there will be options along the way, and always an option is to return to the last option that was more appropriate for your capacity today. Your capacity today, which will be different each day. So let's do it. Let's come onto your backs. Heads towards the center. Now I only have 18 minutes. Okay, so extend your legs out long and lie flat to start. We'll begin with a breath for checking in and calming your system down after whatever it is you've been up to today. So bringing breath and attention in and down and filling up with air. And letting your full attention just be on breath. And just in the same way that when you realize that you haven't been drinking water, you go and you drink a lot of water. In this case, go and chug a lot of air. So bring lots of air into your system and push lots of air out. A few times, big inhale in, fill, hold, and allow the exhale. Doing that 3 or 4 times. On your next inhale, taking note of the breath rhythm that you landed on sort of naturally. And bring that to your conscious awareness. And bring a breath in and down that is filling the whole torso with vitality on all sides. So in the sides and the back body and moving up. And then a passive exhale and a passive pause. And on your inhale, in and down, bring awareness to the sensations of your body, the feelings present with you now, and the thoughts and quality of thoughts. And on the exhale, allow. this invitation for self-remembering every inhale, and this invitation for self-allowing every exhale. On your next inhale, setting in this particular rhythm of breath. So whatever it is now that we've had a little bit of time to settle, how long is your inhale? No pause if possible. How long is your exhale? Passive pause if available. And maintain that rhythm as we move into action. Okay, and we'll grab your blocks that are nearby and place one between your feet and one between your knees. Bring your feet directly under your knees. So we're positioning for a pretty specific bridge pose where the shins are straight up and down. So as you're placing them, kind of become aware of that. And then adjusting for the distance on the most narrow side and making sure the inside edge of your foot touches the edge of the block. This is just a simple guide for the feet. And then the other block between the knees or just above the knees to ensure that the legs continue moving towards each other. And bring your attention to your feet and your activation of your feet. So to feel this engaged grounding down through the four corners of the feet, we'll create a foot bandha. So lifting the toes to feel the action of the arch lifting. So just the toes lift, but the ball of the foot and the whole foot stays down. And then really ground through the ball of the foot and broaden across to the outside edge of the ball of the foot. And then same thing, ground through the outside edge of the heel of the foot and let it wrap around to the inside edge of the heel of the foot. So when I say four corners, those are the four corners that I mean. Inside edge of the ball of the foot, broadened across, wrapped around to the outside edge of the ball of the foot and the outside edge of the heel, and then the inside edge of the heel. And then ground the big toe, but keep the arches lifted and engagement through the rest of the foot. So these are the elements of an activated foot, or a foot containment, or from here on out, just foot or feet, or remember feet. And then bring some awareness to your pelvis and bring the hands to the front hip bones. So with the inner leg line activated because of the block, the inner thighs should be on and engaged. Try to find an effort that you could sustain with that, and connect to the rhythm of your breath in and down into the low belly, and maintain your active feet. Good. And then in rhythm with your breath, on an inhale, tilt the pelvis down, arch the low back, and feel a big gap between your low back and the floor. And then on an exhale, tone the low belly and press the low back down. And this is a pelvic tilt. So we'll tilt the pelvis forward and back in rhythm with the breath. So inhale, pelvis tilts down. Exhale, low belly tones, and you're pressing your low back down to kind of as far down as you could. So these are the extremes of the capacity of your pelvic tilt. Inhale to whatever rhythm we started with and established, and exhale feels the motor control possible for this pelvic tilt. Good. I'm beginning to make that action smaller and smaller, so a little bit less of a tilt forward, a little bit less of a tilt back, until you can feel a sense that the pelvis is in the center. So at neither of these extremes, we're looking for a neutral lumbar curve. So enough space that you could tuck your fingers under there, and enough pressure from the low belly that there's a gentle amount of pressure down on your hand if you're checking there. And so this is a neutral or a balanced pelvis. Or remember, I'll say something like lifting the front hip bones to tone the low belly. And now check in with feet and the inner leg line and balanced pelvis. And then on an inhale, press through your feet and lift the pelvis up an inch or two, maintaining that balance front to back. And on an exhale, set it down. So now we're feeling the activation of the glutes in correspondence with four corners of the feet grounded and the pelvis balanced. And we want to feel glutes engage and then hamstrings as you lift. And then as you lower, you're using as much motor control as you can, and then setting the pelvis down and relaxing in the passive pause. Continue moving in this way with your breath. Good. So feeling the tone of the low belly and the engagements of the glute, preventing the pelvis from shifting forward and back or creating too much arch in the low back. Next time you come down, set the pelvis down and bring your hands to your low ribs. And we'll take the next action that's inside all of our core activations and our core work. And it's an engagement of the upper abdomen to move the rib cage right on top of the hip bones. And so the mid-back is in contact with the floor. So I'll say something like, remember to contain at the low ribs or activate the upper abdomen to remind you of this alignment cue. And then bring your hands back down next to your hips and lengthen the arms in two directions and broaden the palms, gently grounding the palms down into the ground. So broadening the palms and broadening across the upper back and shoulders. On your next inhale, feel this gentle containment of the torso from the front hip bones lifting, the upper abdomen contained, and send breath to the upper back and shoulders. Continuing to ground down through the palms, continue with that flowing bridge with an awareness on these other two areas at the mid-torso and the upper back and the palms. So everything that we established before now comes with us as far as feet, pelvis, inner thigh activation. Good, and next time you set your pelvis down, keep it down and bring some awareness to your jaw and to your head. Gently turn the head side to side and let it be really soft. And then bring your head back to center and take a gentle lift up through the back of the crown and a movement of the chin towards the center of the throat to set the lowest point possible on the head down on the ground. And so this is a head ramp. So this action brings the cervical spine in alignment with the rest of the spine and allows some of the pressure to release off the upper back and the mid-back muscles as you move into your core engagements. Good, so holding all of these in place, we'll again press through the soles of the feet, remembering active foot, and then lift the hips on an inhale and lower on an exhale. Good, and you can begin to press more and more up into a full hip extension in your bridge. So this is a hip bridge rather than an upper back bending bridge, and is focusing on creating stability in the pelvis and holding the spine in a stable position. Good. Next time you lower your hips down, keep them down and engage down through the soles of the feet and balance at the low belly. And on an inhale, see if you can float the feet up off the ground without feeling any movement of the pelvis to dip forward. So no change in the low back. And as you take a few lifts, just notice that engagement from the low belly, and then lift and keep lifting and bring the knees up over the hips and the shins parallel with the ground and the feet flex. So if you can, continue holding the blocks. It's hard. Maintain your active foot. So the more the muscles of the leg can kind of stay engaged, the less difficult this will be for the rest of the torso. Keeping the palms grounded down. On an exhale, just move your feet away from you an inch, hinging at the hip, so maintaining the same bend in the knee, and then on an inhale, come back. So find the stabilization necessary in the core to maintain your core actions as you kind of add weight to this lever of the legs, and being sure to feel for sensitively that the pelvis isn't kind of releasing, dumping out, and creating all the work to shift toward the back body, and that the core action at the mid-torso is maintained with the upper abdomen moving the ribs towards being balanced right over the hip bones. Notice if the jaw tightens up, if the head position changes, and start to increase your range of motion if that's available. Keeping in mind the sort of range of motion that you find here will be a similar range of motion that you'll want to be aware of as we sort of apply more heat. Okay, and next time you lower your feet down, see how controlled you can lower them all the way down and try to place the feet down. So one good full repetition, and then take the blocks out and set them to the side and windshield wiper the hips side to side. Good, so all of that engagement in the inner thigh and the low belly, see if you can release it out in just a rhythmic windshield wiper side to side, connecting it to the rhythm of your breath in some way. Okay, and next time your knees go to the right, keep rolling right and press up, and in the easiest way possible, come to standing. Ooh. All right, so we're taking these core actions up into space and experiencing them with a standing leg. So we talked about a standing foot in bridge, but we'll talk about a standing leg here in standing. So remember feet and the activations I just reviewed about feet. So four corners ground down, and the toes lift, and then the big toe grounds. Good. So remembering this foot bandha is foundational for all your poses. And it's easy to forget, but remember feet. And then check in with your pelvis and see if you can find that same sensation of balance front to back. So using your hands or taking a few of the pelvic tilts can help to feel the extremes of the movement, and then make it smaller and smaller until the glutes are on to extend the hips and the front hip bones are gently lifting up to tone the low belly. Good. And now in a standing leg, there's sort of a lifting up and out of the upper hip and a lengthening of the leg in two directions as you ground down through the outer edge of the foot. Maintaining a soft bend at the knee, so being sure that you're not hyperextending at the knee. Okay, so this standing foot, standing leg, balanced pelvis. Halfway there, building our posture. So then bring your hands to your low ribs and feel for that place where the pelvis and the rib cage are stacked. So the tendency is to let that release, and then that puts a ton of the load of holding your core in position on the back body. So by stacking the rib cage, we're allowing the natural curve of the low back to support rather than the mid back. And then remembering that activation down with the palms and what it's like to broaden the palms and broaden the back. Good, and then rotate the hand forward and also rotate the head of the arm bone gently back to activate through the upper back and shoulders. Good. And then remember that head ramping position, chin towards the center of the throat, extension up through the back of the crown of the head. Good, and breathe into this stable, steady posture. In and down, belly moves with breath, and then into the side bodies, and then into the upper back and shoulders. Good, so lots of back body activation that you'll want to maintain as you're in standing postures or as we continue to move forward into our core exercises. Okay. So, little celebrations, right? Okay, so now we'll apply all of this into our plank, okay? So we'll take a few flows and feel what it feels like to hold those core actions with the spine parallel with the floor. So bend your knees as much as you need to so that you can find that position where it feels like your spine is parallel with the floor. So the give happens at the knees to get there, and then inhale, come up. So feel the knees working in collaboration with all of the other joints to soften as necessary, and take a few repetitions to find that. Remembering that there's a tendency for the head to lead the way, and so you'll have to add lots of emphasis to that action at the back of the base of the skull. Good, and then next time you come up, bring your hands down to your side. Now that you've got the range of motion going, we'll add the arms coming up overhead, okay? So the thing that tends to happen as soon as we move here is that the shoulders dip down. As you lift the arms, there's lots of stabilization required in the shoulder. This is your flow. Go ahead. Inhaling, arms up, torso down, hinge at the hip, bend in the knee to give. And then once you get the movement down, by going super slow, a few repetitions, map the movement to your breath. So as we move into other core work, keep remembering the back body. Noticing if you're hyperextending at the knees, where can you give at the knees to see if you can still get down to that place where the spine is parallel with the ground. Head ramp. Good. All right, last time, come down, arms are up overhead, feet are flat on the ground, hold, hey-o. Good, and keep the spine in this position and keep flowing with the arms. So exhale your arms down, reach down and back behind you, inhale your arms up. Good, so finding the back range of motion with the shoulders, lots of bend in the knee. Good, so this is core work, but this is like remembering that your back body is a part of that. So notice if you've lost your lumbar curve, check in with your core actions, and remember those are our guide for how much is too much. Good. Okay. Next time your arms come up overhead, when you bring them down, come back to standing. So see if you can maintain all those rhythms. Good, lots going on. Shake it out. Release any tension in the shoulders and the back. Good work, good work. Okay. So come to standing with your core actions in place, feet flat on the floor, extension up through the back of the crown, and notice your breath rate and your heart rate. Notice where the activation is in your body, what got worked a lot there. Good. Jenny, lift your head extension up through the back of the crown. Yeah, good. stand tall. Good. So seeing if you can feel lots of activation here in this standing posture. If there are places that you could drop out to make it easier, don't. Hold all of the core actions and the containment, and see if you can feel the grounding down of the feet at the same time as the extension up through the back of the crown. Try not to think about ice cream. Go to focus your eyes, whether they're open or closed, and bring containment to the mouth. Just notice. So these practices to increase your fire are to increase your self-knowledge. So in between the repetitions, instead of just kind of going one after another, we really want to feel what's happening in between so that we're receiving all of the benefit from our work. Okay. Bringing your hands to your belly and your chest, come down, bend the knees a lot, then release the hands, bring the hands down, bend at the knees, and come down into all fours as organized as you can. Okay, so now we'll be working in the crawling foundation on the core actions. So everything that we've established up until now is still in place, and except for now the tops of the feet are the main engagement with the floor. So slow is the faster way when it comes to reinforcing new movement patterns. So lightening the load on the right hand and the left leg, take the slowest crawl forward you could, maintaining stability through the center of the body, and then the next slow step with the other hand, taking note if there's pain in the wrist. Could you activate down, taking that kind of gentle external rotation at the wrist to turn on all of the supportive stabilizers of the shoulder. Then once you reach the front of your mat, go backwards as slowly. And so we're looking to feel like the center of the body is super stabilized, and that these crawling actions are happening around it, and then really organizing the opposite arm, opposite leg actions. Good, and once you come to the back of your mat space, ground through the tops of the feet and walk the hands out until the knees are down and there's a straight line from the knee to the shoulder. So we're in an extended all fours position. Good. And then from here, we'll shift and see if you can place your elbow down and then place your other elbow down. Place your hand down and press up. Alternating sides. So I just went down with the left first. Now I'm going down with the right. And we're trying to take out any side to side action. Good. So all of the work that we visited in Bridge and in Dead Bug is here inside of this. Don't forget. Good. Seeing if you can, when you come down, be as organized as possible. So all of the points we've reviewed until now are relevant as you come down into this Sphinx position. The next time, hold and lower down. Reach your arms out overhead. Rest, recover. So notice the places that fatigued a lot. Is it in the shoulder? Was it in the low belly? Was it in the glutes? Get all of the information from the work you just did. Big inhales, and use your breath to recover quickly. Good, so looking up towards me, if you found that really difficult, maybe a place to work would be coming up into Sphinx. So let's all do that now. Come up into Sphinx and stabilize here. So the more that you're stabilizing here and not letting these sorts of things happen, the more you're building the strength of your shoulder girdle to support itself. And then from here, keep the tops of the feet and the knees grounded and take your core actions. And then once you get here, pull the elbows towards the knees and the knees towards the elbows. Good. Hold to your capacity. Breathe a bracing breath into your really engaged abdomen and come out before you fall out, so that there's like a placing down of your pelvis, and then extending your arms. So those are our options right now. So you can either be resting here and resting just your core and kind of working the shoulders. You can be fully engaged, pulling the elbows towards the knee in your plank, or you can be resting here, recovering in between. So pick your load wisely. You can get quite a lot of work here, or you can rest if you need to. Apply wisdom when playing with fire. Good, so if you're feeling this around your sacrum, something's up, look my way. So there shouldn't be pain at the sacrum. Do you feel pain in the sacrum? That's good. Sorry, sacrum is here. Yeah. So something that tends to happen is this is dropped out, and then there's tons of work going to stabilize that area. So it's the front hip bone can lift and the core containment that prevents that from, and the glute engagement that prevents that. So all the core actions are what help stabilize the sacrum. Okay, build some heat. We'll be here like 2 minutes. Okay, so you could be like, I got 2 minutes in a plank hold, or some movement between those Sphinx and plank hold. Remembering the tops of the feet can add more stabilization. Remembering the broad back and the elbows wrap in towards the side bodies with gentle external rotation at the hands. Head ramp. Everyone's looking real good. Okay, lower it into Sphinx and look towards me. Next time we'll lift into that plank on an inhale, and your resting position will be coming here with the elbows down and the hips up and lengthening the back body, or here. Option for rest, option for activity. We're building heat. And the more that you're gaining knowledge about your tendencies for compensation, the faster you can take the cues that you need rest, the shorter and wiser your rest can be, and then the more efficient your plank will be, because you're learning the ways that you tend to compensate. And even our rest position is pretty productive, right? Lots of big stretching in the side bodies and under the shoulders. And maybe even some extension in the spine as you let the chest drop. Okay, we'll all meet in plank, and we'll take 3 really big breaths. So 3 big bracing breaths with ujjayi in place. So we're in that Sphinx plank. Good, lowering the pelvis down with control, and we'll roll onto your right side and move into some side plank work. So elbow was here, now you pivot on your elbow, fingers are pointing in front of you, upper arm is directly under your shoulder. So not like this, not like this, not like this, like this. And then the lower body is in basically a bridge position, which we visited at the beginning of class, right? So your feet are active back behind you, legs are together. Yeah, maybe just everyone face towards me as we demo this side plank for the first time. So as much glute activity as you have in bridge is important here. So we've been here before, right? Remembering this stabilization out the shoulder, the difference in hanging out in the shoulder and maybe doing the same thing versus getting all of the support of the lats. Your hips are in full extension as best you can, this kind of straight line from your elbow to your shoulder, or from your knee to your shoulder. And then on an inhale, we'll lift, and on an exhale, lower. Holding the shoulder stability if you can. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Active feet help. Good. Next time you inhale, lift, hold up, pull your knee towards your elbow and your elbow towards your knee, and kind of create that even more contraction on the side body. Hoorah, side plank. Okay, breathe your bracing breath and your ujjayi. Good, and come out before you fall out. Good. All right, and roll across the front and switch sides. Anybody have any questions about that? Side planking.
How many are we doing?
Good, okay, set up for the bridge.
She didn't answer. 5 more now.
Good. Okay, positioning yourself well to start. Thinking of bridge, thinking of the details of the pose, and then really stabilizing in the shoulders, and then on an inhale, lift a few times, and on an exhale, lower. How much motor control can you have through that movement pattern? How slow and in rhythm with your breath can you lift, and how slow and controlled can you lower? So we could, right, smoke you in baby side plank. Good, so lots of good work here stabilizing the shoulders. If you notice hypermobility in the shoulders, this is a really good, safe way to work with stabilizing them. Okay, next time you lift, hold, squeeze the knee towards the elbow and the elbow towards the knee. Create that lots of the contraction of the side body. Feel how much support the side body could be. And find your capacity. And come out before you fall out. Good. And then roll onto your backs. And hug your knees into your chest and get into a small ball flexion to counter for all the hip extension and all the stabilization. Just be soft. Okay, and then we'll take a lower body infant roll to release some tension in the low body. So arms up overhead, over and back each way to release the side bodies. So take this slow. It's your rest. You know how you milk the rest. Good. After you've gone over and back once each side, finish up on your abdomen. Okay, we're headed into full plank, but you would just watch me from your belly for a second. Okay, so we'll be coming up to all fours. Always an option if this is too difficult or you feel pain at the sacrum is coming back to this very productive version of plank. So if your wrist hurt or if your sacrum hurts, anywhere hurts, come back and get good work where you're pain-free. This is not a no pain, no gain situation. So from all fours, we'll really check in with the upper body. So much lightness is going to come from how we set our foundation in plank pose. So setting up your hands well, you can remember everything we've been learning with Kels, this activation of the hand and the external rotation to set the shoulder girdle, right? And then the head holds its own from the back side of the skull, and then find your core actions. Extend your left leg straight back, check in, make sure your glute is doing its thing, and then step the other leg back. If you start to drop out through the center, come out before you fall out. So if you start to feel that center dropping, place your knees down and come out and go to child's pose, okay? So we'll talk through the first one together to get there, and then it's basically getting your level of work in either plank pose. So this plank pose, moving to this down dog, working on the shoulder and the underarm, or high plank, knees come down to all fours, back to child's pose. Ready? Okay. Huh? This is peak pose, most deaf. Okay, all fours, come to all fours. Look at your hands, activate hands. Rotate at the hand to create the spiral action up the arm that's going to support the shoulders. Then ramp the head. Callie, you might want to come a little forward so you can extend your leg back behind you. Right, so, and then, so a key is no shifting side to side happening before you're in the full pose. So as you come straight back here, you're bouncing and there's not any shiftiness or dump. The thing that you really tend to see is a dumping out in this hip. So that hip is holding itself from the top of the foot, and then the foot comes back. Okay, so extend the left leg and tuck the toes, glutes on of the left leg. So feel standing leg, standing foot inside of plank. Okay, head ramped, core actions in place. Other leg goes back, weight shifts into the hands. Breathe your ujjayi and your bracing breath. Good, remember head rampings, hands right under the shoulders. Good, and then bring your left foot down and then your right foot down back to child's pose. Okay, take in the information you gathered there. That's what plank feels like. Whoa. As much back body activation and support as the front body activation to ensure that you're not putting too much load on your sacrum. I've been reading these things that say if we free our sacrum, we might free our whole culture. So first we have to take the load that is excess off the sacrum because it's bound by having to be the kind of center fulcrum of the whole body. Okay, so has anyone experienced pain in their sacrum when they were in that position? Oh, that's so great. I'm celebrating my victories. Okay, inhale, come up to all fours. So you're finding your max load. This is your peak pose. Build your level of heat. Okay, so count your breaths. Extend your right leg back first. Feel that leg on, holding its own. Hips in extension, glutes on. Standing foot, then other leg comes back. And we're planking. And you're pressing the floor away and you're creating as much lightness in your limbs from activation through the core as you can. Glutes are holding their own. Maybe your jaw and face stay soft and your center stays open. Good, so finding effort in the right places so that you can find ease somewhere inside the effort. And come out before you fall out. Placing a knee down. And then coming back to child's pose. Or keep holding. I've got time.
Mm-hmm.
Good, glutes are on, heads ramped. Just little reminders, you guys are doing great.
I was in an RTC.
And we're not convinced that you're not in pain right now. We're just wondering you.
It's true.
Where is it? Pain?
No, not
Okay.
bad pain.
Not bad pain.
Okay, if you're
No
laughing,
pain,
it's
no
okay.
gain. The opposite of that.
Good. All right. Coming back to child's pose. I'm calling it. Good job. Rest. Enjoy your work. Feel the body release. Let go. Okay. Coming to extend the legs long and sliding out onto your belly. Activating the tops of the feet and the hands down. Feeling the front body turn on with your core containments in place. And then lift the back body, or lift the feet and the hands up and the head up for a back body engagement. Good. Head is still ramped. Good. Again, no pain in the sacrum here. If it's pain-free in the sacrum, we'll keep going and you'll roll from pure desire onto your side. So pick a side and find the place inside you that can get there. Good. And then balance on the side. And then control back onto your belly. And then balance onto the other side. Good. These are very good signs. Everyone can do it. Good. So the head is shockingly involved, right? And then you're finding that place to balance on your side. Good. And the next time you roll up onto the other side, control onto your back and move your blocks. You're good. Good. Okay, come to the center, arms up overhead. Now we're doing it from your back to your side and over several times. You gotta roast your marshmallow on both sides. Okay, so activate through the soles of feet. Activate through the soles of the feet. The glutes are on. Arms are up overhead. Float the head in the ramping position. Float the heels and then find it on the inside. Roll from your back to your side. Good. And then control back and over to the other side. Good. Slow. Slow is the fastest way. Good. And next time you come onto your back, hold the activations contained at the throat, floating the heels, seeing if you can just have it be a hover with the arms, if that feels okay. And a hover with the heels. Good. So come down, reset, reset, reset. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Okay, then we'll go into our max capacity. Just floating the hands, the head, and the heels. So core containment is in place. And we're just becoming light, that's all.
Anti-gravity.
Okay, so what you'll see is this. It's not that. If there's any break that happens through the torso, that means you've met your capacity. Shaking's fine, not breaking. Okay?
Shaking, not breaking.
Yeah, shake before you break. Okay, so find your edge. We'll be doing this for about 2 minutes. So you could stay in the whole 2 minutes, or you could come out, rest completely and wisely, and then go back. Okay, go team.
You can count us down.
Huh?
No.
I'm not going, it's from the
Oh,
inside.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you'll lift. I thought you meant count the 2 minutes out. I was like, no way, bro. I'll play the singing bowl. posture. Good. 20 seconds left. Good. And on an exhale, soften into Shavasana, a corpse pose. And take a few deep breaths and emphasize your exhale and emptying completely. Inhale from low to high. Recover as quickly as you can. Relax deeply. As you exhale completely, begin to add gentle abdominal squeezes at the exhale. So any places of tension that you feel in the abdomen, sort of as you're empty, gently use the supple muscles of the abdomen to massage into any places of density or lack of feeling in the abdomen. So big exhales and your abdomen's totally empty. Just lift gently in and up with the abdomen, the belly button. So inhale in and down to fill. Exhale completely. So this is moving towards extremes of Uddiyana Bandha, or the abdominal lock. So exhaling out completely and then creating the core containment at the throat, lifting in and up. Good. And on your next exhale to empty completely, and gentle abdominal churning. On the inhale, release all effort. And exhale, soften at the feet, the legs, the pelvis, the belly, the shoulders, the head, the face. Effortlessness. So a sign of that we're building tone is ability to take great effort and then relax quickly. And continue to lie and rest here as long as you have available. This concludes our guided practice.